Hey guys, yesterday we were talking in 1 Peter about another aspect of salvation. Salvation is not just for our souls, salvation is from this world into the world of eternity, and we get saved out of this world into the beautiful place of heaven. But in verse 6 it says this, in this, and he's talking about the trials that these people were going through, the trials of intense life-taking, persecution. He says this, in this you greatly rejoice. Rejoice in trials. Rejoice when my family could be taken from me and I could be killed or they could be killed. Rejoice when they come and take my job away. Rejoice when I get kicked out of my house. You mean I've got to rejoice in circumstances like that? Indeed we do. He says this, though now for a little while. I'm so glad I put that in there, just for a little while. You see, persecution comes and persecution like this goes. This too will pass. And I love that expression. I don't know where I heard it, but I thought it's an expression that we use often, and many people use it when going through an illness or through some time that's really tough, where we're able to say, this too will pass. I remember saying that to a young couple when they were going to have a baby, and I said to this young lady, it could be a little bit painful. It's just a little bit, not very sure, but it'll be a little bit painful. But bear in mind, this too will pass. And at the end of the pain, and I'm not belittling the pain, I'm so glad I'm not a woman. Anyway, as this pain that they go through ends with incredible rejoicing, because as the pain leaves, they held this beautiful gift of a child, and all the pain is worth it. And what he's saying is exactly that, but in a huge context, that the trials of our life, if we will persecute, they will come to an end. They always do. But the beauty is that which comes out of it. And he talks about the trials in the next little passage here. He talks about the trials being as if it were pure gold. You see, gold has to go through a fire in order to be purified. Gold, in order to be of a high quality, has to have all the rubbish burned off. And at the end of the trials and the persecution and all the stuff that you may have to go through, the end product makes it worth the trial. The trial, this too will pass, but oh my man, look what the result is. And if we could just grasp this, that when we go through trials, just as a lady goes through trials with a baby in birth, the outcome is worth the trial. And I guess that's the sense of joy. Jesus said this, he said, it was said of Jesus that for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. He endured the suffering and the humiliation because he knew there was a joy that was to come. And so for us who live in this world, whatever your persecution or whatever your test or your trial may look like, first promise is, this too will pass. Not going to last forever. It always passes. And at the end of it passing, you will receive the beauty of the gift that is causing you to rejoice for that which is still to come. The beauty of that joy is worth the test. Man, I hope we pass the test. Bear in mind, people, this too is going to pass, and the joy that is set before us is going to be the joy that makes the test totally worthwhile. Don't you love the picture of gold? I can't think of a better analogy, because gold has to be heated. Gold has to go through the fiery furnace in order to be a high quality. So if you're going through a test, it's not God being mean to you, it's just God purifying you. But here's a thought. Sometimes the tests and the trials that we go through, we bring upon ourselves. When we don't behave well, we create our own test. We can't lay this one on God's door. We can't say he's responsible for this test. It's a consequence of our own sinfulness that takes us through some of the tests or the trials. So when you're going through a test or a trial that you hope is going to purify you as with gold and you end up with something joyful, first thing you've got to do is ask yourselves, what's the source of this test? Where's this trial coming from? Could it just be that I've acted like a jerk? Could it just be that my own sinful nature has caught up on me? Please don't lay that at God's door, because that's your doing. And you know what you have to do with that, hey? You have to repent of that. You have to come to God and say, Lord, I acknowledge my own sinfulness. This trial or this test that I'm going through is not of your making. God, I own this. And that's a relieving thing to do. And God will smile and say, yep, I guess maybe you do, but my grace is sufficient for you. Whether it's in a trial you have created or whether it's in a trial that God has sent to purify you, the principle still remains. God's grace is sufficient in all of that. The joy that is still to come is worth the trial or the test as long as you understand the place and the power of the grace of God at a time like that. Hope that makes sense to you today as well. Have a good day, people. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.